Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you all are doing great. First of all, I just want to apologize for ghosting my YouTube family as well as my IG fam, and basically just disappearing completely from social media. And as I'm sure you would have guessed by now from either the title of this video or the thumbnail, I have tested positive for COVID along with 5 other members of my family. So this has been extremely difficult for the last, I would say, 10 days, and it's been a lot. And I just wanted to share what we have been going through so far. And I just feel like there's a lot of information out there regarding COVID, and I don't see a lot of people talking about their experience as they're going through it. And as difficult as it is, I mean, I am definitely feeling like I would say 90 to 95% better than how I was like 2 to 3 days ago. So the purpose of this video is definitely just to share my experience so far. I mean, it's still ongoing, we're still under quarantine. I'll be honest, I don't know if I'll ever step outside again because this experience has been so taxing mentally, emotionally, physically. I don't know, this has definitely scarred me, and I'm definitely considering the vaccine even more. So yeah, so I am going to be talking about our COVID experience, but I do want to give one trigger warning, and that is I will be talking about depression in this video. So if that is something you are uncomfortable with, it triggers you, then please click out of this video and I will see you in a future upload. But if this is something you are interested in listening to, then definitely keep on watching. But before I jump into the whole COVID experience, let's just address the elephant in the room. Yes, I cut my hair, and I will explain why, because it's actually due to one of the symptoms I was having. So this is my hair. My mom actually cut it for me yesterday. Obviously we can't leave to go anywhere, so I don't know, I'm kind of happy with it. I think it turned out pretty okay. I mean, it's definitely not a professional cut, but honestly, when she handed me this ponytail, I was just like, holy crap. But I wasn't even sad about it. The thing is, like, I felt immediate relief when she did, because I feel like my hair was just weighing me down a lot. Like, it was a lot to manage, especially as I'm sick. So for reference purposes, I am filming this video on Tuesday, the 11th of May 2021, and now I'm gonna go back in time as to how we got here. So that last week of April, the last Sunday of April 2021, my aunt went to church and she came home. By the way, my aunt is 75 years old, and her church is just like a couple houses down our street. So she went to church, and as soon as she came home, like I'm talking about as soon as she stepped through the gate, she started displaying like symptoms. Now I don't want to say symptoms as in like COVID symptoms. We don't know what it was, because you know, Chinese believe in, like, you know, the regular virus as well. So she said she wasn't feeling good and she was coughing. Quickly took her meds and she went to bed. And by Monday, my mom started to like feel sick. She told me she was feeling like her throat kind of scratching and she was kind of sniffly. I told her to still put on her mask at home because, you know, we don't know what is really going on. Let's monitor it for a few days and then we could make a decision. So time Thursday rolled around, my mom was doing okay. My aunt was still pretty sick, but she was very adamant that, you know, it's just a regular virus. She had like coughing and fever, so she seemed to be managing her symptoms at home as well. So but by Tuesday I noticed that my dad started coughing a lot more, and I noticed he started displaying like if he was getting cold. So I was just like, okay, this is really odd now, but at the same time not so odd because my mom is sick and she's in the house, so it's natural that we're gonna get sick. But by Thursday I noticed that I was feeling an extreme exhaustion and fatigue that I just could not explain. However, I checked my app on my period app, and it actually showed that my period was due the next week. So I was like, okay, great, well, this makes perfect sense, which is why I'm feeling so tired. Again, I'm not feeling sick, I'm just feeling tired. Like I only want to just lie down and rest and sleep. So by Friday night I noticed that my throat, it started to feel a little scratchy. It wasn't painful, it wasn't sore, but like it was just kind of dry and like a kind of like a dry cough coming on. So I was just like going like that. So I was just like, what the hell is this? And literally as soon as I started to feel that symptom, I'm talking about Friday the 30th of April, my mom got a text, and it was from one of her friends who found out that a family member of ours who my mom and my aunt was in contact with, they found out that she's COVID positive. Now when I heard that, I literally felt everything in me drop, because I was just like, well, it's confirmed there, all of us have to go get tested. My mom's heart literally dropped. Like I could see the fear on her face, and she had to confirm it for herself, and she put on her mask and she went across to the positive family member's home because she lives across the street from us. Of course, she did not go into the house, she just stayed on the street, and she called out to her and was like, you know, let's call this person X. She said, person X, are you COVID positive? And the family member literally did this. Yeah, don't tell anyone. Listen, nothing pissed me off more when my mom came back and she told me what happened. This is not something that you hide, especially from people that you were in direct contact with. The thing is, she never even really told us that she went to get tested. I think they had to like kind of pry it out of her as well, knowing fully well that you were interacting with my parents the weekend before. The exact same weekend they started showing symptoms, especially my aunt. And honestly, this is like one of the reasons why I did not film this video like earlier, because I was so angry. I was a very bitter person at the beginning of finding out all of these things, so I didn't want that to translate. But I am still very upset with the situation. But at the end of the day, we contracted the virus, and I just knew it. By Friday I was just like, yeah, that's it for sure. So Friday night I started calling around to private labs to see if they could come home and test us, because at this point everybody here is exposed. All 7 of us who live in this property have been exposed, and they actually came Saturday morning, like really early. They swabbed all of us and we got the results by 5:30 p.m. that same day. I was in the shower, and as soon as I stepped out of the shower and entered my room, my brother hailed me out, and he was just like, hey, the lab just called and they said you all are positive except for him. And I was just like, oh my god. So I don't know what it was, but as soon as I heard that we were positive, it's almost like a kind of survival mode kind of thing just kicks in. So you just feel like, okay, I have to protect. That is literally how I felt at that moment. I don't know how to explain it, but all I could think about was, okay, I have to protect my brother from this. So I told him, okay, go in your room immediately. So he went into his room, he locked up. As soon as I got out of the shower, I changed my clothes, and I just went immediately back to the bathroom and the toilet, and I was just like cleaning out that entire area, just sanitizing everything, pulling out everything that we touched, that we used, and I sanitized everything, the bathroom, I scrubbed it, the sinks, the toilet, just everything, because my brother's room is like directly on the side with our bathroom. So I said, you know what, we can actually isolate him very easily. Again, we found out we were positive on Saturday, the 1st of May. By Sunday lunchtime, we received a call from the Ministry of Health, a doctor, and she was like taking note of all of our symptoms and how we're feeling and giving advice. And by Sunday evening, she didn't like how my aunt's vitals were looking, and I'll get into what I used to check her vitals in a second. But yeah, she didn't like the way that it was looking. It was like her oxygen was very low, number one. Two, you have to consider her age. She's 75, and she looked like she was experiencing shortness of breath, even though she told me that she's not. And to be honest, when looking at her, I didn't see her like in any kind of distress in terms of like gasping for breath or anything like that, but her oxygen was low. So doctor did not take any chances, and she actually called the ambulance from her end, and they actually came Sunday night. So you can see how quickly this progresses, because it's like Saturday we found out, and by Sunday nights we already have an ambulance in our home. And let me tell you something, it is definitely a sight to see when these EMTs come in their PPE fully like covered. It is so scary. It is a scene out of a movie. Like my heart was just racing, but at the same time I was trying to keep calm because my aunt, like, she was so scared. Can you imagine that? Like, just the day before you were okay, and then all of a sudden, bam, you have people in PPE in your house. Just like, it's so much. But when the EMTs actually arrived and they like retested her vitals and everything, she seemed to be doing pretty okay. So they relayed that information to their superior, and they actually advised, okay, well, we'll just have to monitor her, but it's not required for her to go to a COVID facility. So that was like amazing news. Again, this is Sunday night. By Monday, as I was checking her vitals, oh my gosh, it was low again. And I was actually talking to some of my friends who are doctors at a hospital in the East, and honestly, if it weren't for them, I don't know where we would be. I don't even think I would be able to sit here and make this video, because I might have just been like up shit street basically, because thanks to their coaching and their advice, I have been able to not just take care of myself, but actually manage to take care of my family and make very important and pertinent decisions in terms of getting their health back on track. So one of my friends, when I sent her the picture of the vitals, she was just like, okay, no, you need to call the ambulance. This is too low. And considering now that she is admitting, and by she I mean my aunt, she is actually admitting to me that she does have shortness of breath, I had to make a call. And by Monday, my aunt was at Cuba Hospital. It was the scariest thing ever to see that ambulance drive off, and I kept my cool as much as I could because my aunt was scared. She was screaming. She did not want to go, but she knew she had to, because there was nothing else I could have done for her at home, especially if something else went terribly wrong. Like, I could not save her. So we convinced her she had to go. But it's the scariest thing, because we see it on the news, you hear about it from people, but having to watch your family member drive away in an ambulance, not knowing if you're ever gonna see them again, is the scariest thing I have ever experienced in life. And I have experienced a lot of shit, but this was just like, it literally broke me. And I came home and I called my friend, that's my doctor friend, who actually told me to make the call, and I just sat on the phone and I cried with her. She was so patient. She's very loving. Her bedside manners is just amazing. And I asked her anything I had to ask her regarding my aunt, and she assured me that she's gonna be okay. You know, you never know how these things are gonna go, so you just have to pray, you have to keep your faith. And today is the 11th and my aunt is still there, but we have been getting a couple of updates here and there. The last update we got was like 2 or 3 days ago, which in itself is so crazy, but it's been a good update. They said that she's doing very good. They're actually weaning her off her oxygen, so they reduced it from 60 to 40%, which is amazing. It means that she is retaining oxygen and starting to breathe on her own. So right now we're just basically waiting for that call that, you know, she would be discharged. So keep praying for my auntie. Her name is Joyce, and we love her very, very much. She's like a second mother to me. I have lived with her all of my life here, and yeah, just keep my aunt in good thoughts, please. So that was Monday the 3rd of May, and by Wednesday the 5th of May I had to call ambulance for my dad because he was experiencing short breath. And my dad always used to have this short breath. Even before COVID, he would, like, as soon as he finishes eat, he would just have to go lie down because he's just like gasping for breath. It is the strangest thing. He has done so many tests. No one could see anything wrong with his lungs, his chest. Everything seems fine, but he just keeps getting the short breath. But my dad was a smoker all of his life, and he stopped about, I want to say 3 to 4 years ago. But obviously with this COVID, it doesn't care how long ago you stopped smoking. Trust me, COVID is not forgiven in this instance. And he was giving me trouble to eat and just, you know, do normal things. So definitely it hit him a lot harder. So I had to bite the bullet and make that call. And by Wednesday night, I was like screaming in front of our house because my dad was being taken away. Like, it was just, I mean, my aunt was one thing, but then, you know, it's my dad. You know, this man gave me life. So that coupled off with the fact that everything is just happening so fast. It's just like everything was snowballing so fast, and I couldn't come up for air because, mind you, my symptoms were like very much amplified at this time. Like my voice, I have now gotten back my normal voice, and I was a mess, a total and complete mess. And I feel like I couldn't catch myself. Like, it was just one thing after next, and it was honestly the most scary experience you could ever have, thinking about losing a parent. So that was on Wednesday. My dad was admitted to Cougar Hospital, and by Mother's Day, which was the following Sunday, he actually was discharged. And it was probably the best Mother's Day gift my mom could have gotten. We're just so glad to have our dad home, because the thing is with this whole COVID thing is like, you either survive it or you don't. And again, I'm not trying to scare anybody, but that is just the reality of it. And that realization is what actually, like, it kind of sent me into a depression. Like, it would have times where I would just sit on my bed and just cry and cry, and I don't know where these tears are coming from. And I know it's because I'm definitely studying my dad and my aunt. Like, we can't get to talk to them, we can't get to see them, we're barely getting updates because, you know, we know the status of the health system. It's on the verge of collapse. So everyone's resources is just so limited. So we're not getting updates as often as we should. So we just have to kind of guess and hope and pray that our relatives are okay in these facilities. But let me tell you something. The downward spiral I was going down, it was just so dark. It was so heavy because I definitely am a creature of habit. I like to have things done a certain way. So when something happens that just kind of shakes that foundation, I definitely feel alarmed, I feel overwhelmed, I feel anxious. And I have exams in June, like the first week of June, and it's my 2 final exams to complete my LLB. And I was honestly looking forward to it because I've worked so hard this last academic year, and to just have all of that just like taken away from me, it was a lot to deal with. And to top it off, like, I'm also thinking about, will we survive this? That is a real question. I had to sit and like basically had to decipher for myself. Will me and my family survive this? Will my brother be okay? Like, it's just a reality that sets in that is very dark, and you have to ask yourself certain things. I find myself having to like put things in place, and it's just like, this is way too much for me to handle. And to top it off, like, try to nurse myself back to health, because I'm not gonna lie, if you get COVID and to top it off you have to take care of elder relatives who are very sickly, it's a lot. It takes a lot on yourself. And I was kind of forgetting about me. Like, I need to give myself meds, I need to drink some rehydration salts, because I literally found myself doing these things for my family. And it's only like when my friends check in on me, like, I don't know what I would have done without my friends in this situation, but they literally check on me every day, and they're like, okay, I understand how your family is feeling, but how are you feeling? Like, you need to remember to take care of yourself. And that's when I was just like, holy shit, I didn't take a tablet today, I didn't drink anything, like, you know, to say I put something in my body today. And I don't know, I guess it's just because I don't want anything bad to happen to my relatives, especially when they're in my care. And especially my mom, because my mom is very sickly, she's very frail, but thankfully she is just like me right now. I think we are definitely the 2 healthiest people in this, you know, house right now in terms of, you know, being COVID positive, but we're moving around pretty okay, we have our energy. And it was the same thing with her, like, I had to force her to eat, but she's there, you know, it worked, they both work, and she is so much better now. And I can't thank everybody enough who dropped food and groceries and snacks. Like, it was just so special. And I know it might seem like nothing to some people to do this, but it meant everything to my family and I. And my friends who dropped food, like, they would put like these sweet little messages on the bags, like, feel better. And it's just like, the little things just definitely made me smile. But at the same time, it was a very sad experience to see my friends stop in front of our gate, and they just like put the box of food there, and they, you know, just had to pop their horn and drive off. Like, I cried like a baby every time I saw them drive off, because it's just like, I just want to thank my friends, I just want to hold them, I just want to hug them, but obviously I can't. So I don't know. And I also have like this fear of, okay, yes, even after we quarantine, we are doing everything that they say to do, but I have this fear that I may still spread this virus to somebody afterwards. And I definitely have to do some reading there to like kind of debunk that, because I can't, you know, just lock up in my house forever. I mean, I could, I really could, but I know I shouldn't. So I mean, the way I see it is that I did everything possible to not get this virus for the last year. You know, I stayed home, I sanitized, I was social distancing, I did everything right, and still the virus entered my home, and well, the rest is history. So I guess I should not have that mindset to like lock away myself forever, but it's just a lot to think about, to be honest. It's a lot to unpack when you realize that you have been diagnosed with a deadly virus. And it's not to say we don't know what the virus is doing. We are seeing it every day around the world, even right here at home in Trinidad. So all I can do is pray that my aunt is released very soon, so that she's back home and safe with us, and I can make her some nice curry chicken and rice, because that's one of her favorite meals, just like mine. And to everybody who messaged and reached out to me and like wishing me well and everything, I'm sorry that I have not responded. I could not be on social media, and I'm gonna explain why. Now, the most painful symptom I have had to date is the headache. I cannot describe this headache to you. I can only imagine this is what a migraine feels like, because I've never experienced a migraine, but I've never had a headache wake me up out of my sleep. Like, that is how like excruciatingly painful this headache is. And I say is because I'm still feeling it today, and that's because I did not sleep properly last night. There's this stray cat who keeps coming into our property and like harassing our cat, so we just have to keep getting up every like hour of the night and like screaming at him to leave. So that just kind of cracked up my sleep. But anyway, I digress. But this headache is just so intense, and it's actually why I cut my hair. Like, I literally was feeling it, like my hair just weighing down on my skull, and it was too much. I told mommy, I said, listen, today is the day, you have to cut my hair. It's too much. I can't take this headache. I will rip my hair out. Literally, that is how I was feeling. Like, I couldn't touch like this area on my head. And to top it off, why I was not on social media a lot is because the headaches had me sensitive to light, to sound. I could not stare at my phone. I could not like keep my lights on. I was basically like in a dark house, like a Obia woman. Not gonna lie, every time my mom put on the lights outside, I would come out of my room and take it off. Like, I just wanted complete darkness. That was the only way I was getting some kind of relief. Yes, I literally was like walking around my house like this, just kind of squinting, trying to get away from light as much as I can. But yo, those headaches, nothing was helping. I took every painkiller you could possibly think about, and nothing. All I had to do was just sleep and more sleep. But literally, as soon as my mom cut my hair yesterday, like the first cut, I could just feel that instant relief. So cutting my hair was definitely like a very important and a good decision on my end. Also, just note that yes, I've shared my symptoms with you all on the screen, but it doesn't mean that you may experience all of these symptoms, or you might actually experience more than I have. This is just, again, my experience. I'm not a professional, I'm not a doctor. This is just my experience with being COVID positive. That being said, I wanted to share some items that were actually recommended and bought for me by my friends. And honestly, it's because of all of these things in this little basket right here that has definitely like brought back life for me and my mom, and it's helping my dad a lot. And well, it was helping my aunt until she went to the COVID facility. So I just wanted to share a couple of these things, so that it's basically like a kind of COVID kit, if you want to call it that. Of course, you have to consult your doctor to see what works best for you. My friends are 2 doctors, and they honestly, they know our history like medically, so they understood what it is we need. So I just wanted to make that disclaimer. I know I'm talking about my friends a lot in this video, and that is because I genuinely love and miss them, and I owe them my life. Literally, I owe them so much right now. But they honestly are so incredibly amazing. Literally, the first night that we found out we were positive, and they already like went and bought a bunch of things at Pennywise for us at the pharmacy. They did the most when it came to shopping, but they dropped it off at our front gate, and I basically had my COVID kit without having to leave home. So I just wanted to share these items so that if you or your relatives, whoever, test positive, you have your kits ready. And please don't wait until you test positive. I think this is something every household should have in the event, you know, because let's face it, these numbers are pretty insane. And the first thing they picked up is this oximeter. This measures your oxygen level as well as your pulse rate. So it comes in this little cute carrying case. This is what it looks like. It comes on like this, and it works with 2 AAA batteries. And what you do is that you just slide your finger in here, you close it down, and you just, I find that we get the best results when you sit up and you just lay your hand flat like this to get the reading. And you can see the reading already started. So 98 is my oxygen level, which is great, and my pulse rate is at 95 right now, which is actually the lowest it has been. So that is pretty amazing. I guess I miss filming, so that is a really good reading. But this is the device I use morning, noon and night to test myself as well as my family. Of course, if any of my family members are in distress, I would definitely like test them more. And if I could find it, I'll put up a picture of like normal oxygen. Sorry for the lighting change in this video. My battery died, so I had to like set up all over again. But what I was saying was that I'll try to find a picture of the proper, or I should say normal, oxygen as well as pulse rate ranges, and I'll pop it on the screen somewhere. The next thing they got for me is this digital thermometer right here to keep track of our temperature, so that, you know, we can see who has, you know, a high fever. This came in very, very handy. And again, these are 2 things I would never have guessed to keep in this, like, as, you know, like a regular home kit. But this was such a vital instrument in just making sure everyone's fever is kept in check. And honestly, the chills that you get with this COVID is it's so painful. Like, my mom and I did not have fever. Well, let me talk for myself. I did not have any fever, but the chills I experienced, I'm like under a thick white blanket, that white blanket there, and I am still getting chills. I mean, I'm obviously not sleeping with my AC on, and I am feeling like the AC is on full blast. That is how crazy these chills are, and that is without a fever. So I can only imagine if I experienced that COVID fever, what would have happened. I think the highest my temperature reached was like 37 or something. So this is so necessary to keep track of everyone's temperature. I also keep this little bottle of rum and alcohol because, again, it's multiple people that I'm taking care of, so I have to make sure and sanitize everything as I use it. And I have my little pen in here as well as my book to keep track of the vitals. Let me see if I could turn down this brightness so you could see it. So what I do is, like, I put the names of my relatives. So this is my dad, my mom, and myself. And what I do is I set up columns for our oxygen level, our pulse rate, and our temperature. And I test it, and I put the times that I took the readings as well, so that way, you know, it's more visually pleasing to, like, you know, if I need to pick up on something, well, what time did this temperature read this high, you know, that kind of thing. So it's very important, at least for me, because I'm dealing with so many people, to have this book with their vitals being noted. I did ask the doctor from the ministry, like, how often I should take vitals, and she said as long as, you know, no one is really in distress, twice a day is fine. But of course, if it's someone who is experiencing a lot more symptoms and a lot more worse symptoms, you should definitely monitor them like as often as I can. So that's that. My mom is diabetic, so she actually just keeps her diabetic testing kits in here because, you know, it's just easy to grab. We also use this a lot in the beginning, Panadol multi-symptom, but the ministry doctor actually told me Panadol, like regular Panadol, can work just as great. This is just, you know, what we had on hand, so it's what we were using. We also went through a couple of these Paracetamol cards. This I gave them like when they had pain and fever. We also kept Tramacet, which is also for pain and fever, but this works best with Gravol because Tramacet on its own does make you feel nauseous, so you need to take Gravol with it as well. I see that my mom kept her diabetic medicine. This is her glucovage. She kept it in here again because it's easy to grab, and it's very important that whatever medical condition you have before COVID, you still need to continue your meds. That is why I actually put that in here, so that she can just remember to take these and not just, you know, reach for these like COVID medicine. Basically, she needs to take her regular medicine. Another necessity is a box of gloves. This one has 100 pieces, so 50 pairs. I actually use these when I am preparing food for my brother. I prepare his food by wearing my mask, using gloves, constantly washing my hands with the gloves on to make sure that they are always clean. So these come in very, very handy, especially if you have someone who is isolated in the house who has not tested positive and you just want to ensure that they are protected on all levels. So these gloves came in super handy for that. Last but not least, I have an entire row here filled with rehydration salts, and these are vitamin C quick packs, I call them. One thing we definitely experienced a lot with this COVID is dry mouth. Like, we have been severely dehydrated. No matter how much water we drink, we have been like, our mouth was blistered. It was just terrible. So when I told that to the doctor, she was like, yeah, that's why you need to always drink your rehydration salts. Just mix a jar, leave it on the table, and just let everyone drink a glass. But you really should be drinking like about 4 to 5 glasses per day, more if you can. I honestly hate the taste of this because I remember it from my childhood. It's I don't like it, but honestly this is what definitely helped us, especially if you have a fever. You need to rehydrate your body. These vitamin C packs, honestly, we have to like reboot our immune system. So these have been coming in very handy for that. And well, my cousin also dropped off some of these, and she picked up like different flavors for us, just I guess, you know, to mix things up a bit. And the very last thing I have in this little container is our cough syrup. You definitely need some kind of cough syrup. I saw some like WhatsApp messages going around recommending Mucinex, and I have used that before and it really is effective, but I didn't want to put anyone else in expense, and this is just what we had home. This was actually for my dad because he always, you know, had a cough, so we have all been using it and it's been working fine. This one is called Codeine Linctus, I don't know, but if you could get one, you could get the Robitussin, or the Histal is good as well, and the Mucinex, so you could try those. But you definitely need to have some kind of cough medicine because that cough, especially at night, trust me, it will ruin your sleep. It's very uncomfortable, and I would suggest to anyone who has that cough, try as much as you can to bring up whatever is like on your chest. Do not swallow it, do not just like leave it lingering there. Try your best to cough it up as much as you can and spit it out. But I think that completes this video. I'm trying to like brainstorm really quick, but my head is very fuzzy right now and these lights are not helpful. So So I think I definitely need to just close up this video and go take a lie down, because your girl is feeling very tired right now, and I need to go check on my dad to see how he's doing. So you guys, this has been a journey. I know this video might be a little long, so I thank you for your patience and your time, and for watching and listening, and also for everyone again who sent us sweet messages and just have been checking up on me even though I have not been responding. I'm so sorry, but thank you, and I appreciate you. I see you. Like, please don't stop praying for us. We need it more than ever. But I will be absent for the next couple of weeks, just to, you know, get myself back to 100, as well as my family. And yeah, you guys, make sure and take care of yourselves. I say this after every video, but I just want to elaborate on that now. To stay away from people, and do not let anyone come into your home, no matter if they're family or close friends, whoever. Please just stay away from people. Just for a couple of months, or maybe even weeks at this point. Just stay away from people. I can't stress that enough. I am living proof that you can do all of the right things, but from the time someone enters your home, you don't know what they're about. You don't know what they were doing on the outside. And look at what happened to me and my family. So use me as your reference point to just take this time and stay home. So you guys, make sure and take care of yourselves, and I will see you all in a couple of weeks. Bye.